I can't believe where I'm at today as far as how I feel and honestly perform. I'm like, I want a six pack by summer.
Peptides are like keys that open doors to unlock the body to do certain things. I don't recommend anyone to buy peptides online. I think the future of health will be custom peptides for your body based on data by using AI. When I think about overall health, peptides are like the top tier.
Yes. It's like helping the healthiest 5% improve by another 5%.
Without NAD, we'd be dead in like 5 seconds.
Dr. King, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Let me tell you a little bit about why I'm bringing, and tell everyone why I'm bringing you on here today. So I was doing some work with Entrepreneurs Organization in San Diego, a lot of entrepreneurs, founders, high-level performers, and I was talking to them about health, and your name would come up in the circles about someone who they were going to for, some of them had sleep issues, some of them had digestive issues, some of them had just energy issues, and your name kept coming up, and then we got the opportunity to meet when we had a little local healthcare professional thing here.
Yep.
And after that, we kind of talked, and I went through a process of, you want to check my gut health and all these different things. I'd been struggling with a few things. That was like a year ago. And I can't believe where I'm at today as far as how I feel and honestly perform. And perform sounds crazy for like an almost 50-year-old dude, but in the gym, I'm able to do things that I couldn't do before, or at least I couldn't do since I was 30 years old. So that's why you're here. And that's why I really appreciate everything you've done. So.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I mean, you're like the perfect example of someone that's super healthy, doing all the right things, but just need to take it a step further, right? So looking at your gut, adding maybe some peptides, some certain things just gets you to that like optimal health area. So I really appreciate working with you because you're easy, you understand it, you follow through, you're an amazing patient.
Well, thank you. At least that's what it looks like. I try to keep it together, but
yeah.
So you're a doctor of naturopath.
Correct.
And I grew up in a family that did really value that. We had our own garden and we looked at how we ate, and my mom was very much into let's try to find the natural way. So why don't you share a little bit, what's the difference between a naturopathic doctor and maybe a standard MD and the whole process?
Yeah, so naturopathic medicine and naturopathic doctors, our goal is really to find the root cause of disease. Mm-hmm. So we use specialized testing, different tests that regular doctors won't use. So a lot of the people that come to us are like, I went to my doctor, they've done all these tests, everything looks normal, but I don't feel normal, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of the stories that we're hearing with, just people on social media and just out in the world today. So I went to a 4-year medical school. It's called Bastyr University. It's in San Diego. We have a sister school in Kenmore, Washington. And so we study kind of the similar things as medical doctors. Nutrition, well, they don't study nutrition that much, but we study a lot of nutrition, pharmaceuticals, all obviously biology, biochemistry. But in addition to like Western medicine, we study homeopathy. We do study the body a little bit more in terms of the biochemistry. I would say naturopathic doctors know biochemistry a little bit better than regular docs. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying regular docs don't know it, but their real goal is to, they work in hospital systems. Yeah. They work really quick with patients. They have 5 minutes with patients, right? They don't have the time. So it's really like a system-wide problem. Yeah. My initial visit is 90 minutes with patients, so I really get to know people.
Experience that, yeah.
Yeah, so it's more, more hands-on, I would say. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the real goal is to find the root cause. And we use, like I said, specialized testing. So a lot of gut health. We use urine tests, look at blood work, maybe a little more in depth.
Yeah, you talk about that when people come to you, you spend time with them. And I know I know I talk to a lot of MDs. I very much value MDs. But I think the limitations, like you said, of the healthcare system, they can't do that. That's not something that they can do. Well, that's a limitation of the standard Western healthcare system. What would you say is the limitation of naturopathy? What was it? Naturopathy? Is that the way? Yeah.
Naturopathy. Yeah.
Naturopathy. Okay. What would you say is the limitation? Where is it where would you say, hey, go talk to an MD here?
Yeah. So if you are in a car accident,
yes,
right? Like if you have some emergency situation happening, like we don't do any residencies in the hospital. We don't do surgeries. We don't do anything, that's high end. That's you need medical interventions like that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Now, so with the approach, and like I said, I was so impressed the first time because I was just thinking I had heard of, and we're going to talk about peptides today. So I'd heard of peptides. I'm like, I want a 6-pack by summer. Yo, Corey, these guys said that they're working with peptides. Can you just, hook me up with some peptides? You're like, well, that's not necessarily how this works. Like I came in, I had to poop in a box and send it away. And the whole, it was like, wow, you wanted to see how my gut was working. You wanted to see how everything was working before you just said, hey, why don't you try these things out, which was so refreshing.
Yeah.
So, and we'll get back to that in a little bit, but why don't you, today's discussion is about peptides. When I was preparing for today, the questions that I put together were really easy for me because every particularly guy friend that I have just filling up my phone with texts. Hey, Brett, I heard you took some peptides. What do you think of this? I found this online for like $20. Like I'm taking oral versus injectable. There's a million questions because it's so hot. Peptides are I saw a stat, $165 billion industry right now. And by 2030, they're saying that could double. We're going to be in the $3 billion. So let's start with what are peptides? What is it?
Yeah, so peptides are small chains of amino acids. The most common peptide that people probably know about is insulin. I mean, other than GLPs, right? GLP stands for glucagon-like peptide, which I tell patients that like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah. So essentially peptides are like keys that open doors to unlock the body to do certain things. So there's signals in the body, they help with certain activities in the body. And yeah, there's thousands and thousands of peptides.
So when you say thousands, like we've discovered, like how did all of a sudden we be like, oh, we have a peptide BPC157 that does this? Like how did that process go where they figured this stuff out?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know the exact details about that. I think just studying it in rats and other animal models, certain researchers were doing research and like BPCs found in our stomach acid and they started injecting it and we're like, this is amazing for inflammation, even though it's a gut peptide. Thymosin alpha is another peptide that's actually a medication in Europe, and that helps our immune system, and that's part of our immune system. The GLPs are like glucagon, which is telling our body to be full. So there's different peptides that they've kind of discovered, and there'll be more and more. And I mean, I think the future of health will be custom peptides for your body based on data by using AI. Like that's like the next step.
So they're using AI because it seems like just what they have now, these peptides, has made approaches to health and performance more specific. It's like we can target this one thing. So I'm familiar with, there's a friend of mine was talking about a peptide that helped him sleep. So as opposed to taking like a Xanax or an Ambien, which is just like an atomic bomb in your system, it goes in and it acts on a very specific thing, it has a specific process. There's not as much fallout. It's really cool that they can get that specific with it.
Yeah.
So with peptides, and like I said, $165 billion industry, my phone's full of questions about it. It's the hot topic. With the emergence of peptides, obviously everyone's trying to use them. There are different costs, different sourcing, different location. Does anything concern you? And again, you get to the GLPs where it's like they're practically handing those out like candy. What concerns you about the just all of a sudden explosion and just accessibility to everyone for peptides?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. Peptides, I've been using them myself personally and with patients for about 8 years. They've been around a lot longer than that, like the FDA approved ones. So I feel, I guess 8 years ago when I started using them, they were like gray area. We couldn't really get them. Then they became compounded. So compounding pharmacies could make them. And then a few years back, the FDA shut down like compounding pharmacies from making them. So essentially you can just get them from labs. There's like a few like sermorelin and tesamorelin and the GLPs that are still able to be compounded by pharmacies. And I mean, they're kind of changing the laws. So the laws are going to be changing, I think, depending on the administration. I think there's 12 peptides that are in works right now, like BPC, thymosin alpha, thymosin beta. So some of these other ones that are going to be able to be compounded from pharmacies. I think that's by far the best way to get peptides. And in order to get those, you'd need to see a doctor that's prescribing them.
So you say compounded. So they're made. So if something's compounded in a pharmacy versus a lab, what's the difference there?
So compounded, they have regulation.
Okay.
right? Like the FDA comes in, they look at they should be looking at the lab, making sure everything's USP, right? Like everything is good to go, so that there's, they're not just giving you something random.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of direct to consumer peptide companies that are made from labs. They might say 99% pure, but they have no liability, right? At the end of the day, they could just be giving you salt or something that's toxic or something.
Yeah. So compounding labs. So I know that when my friends are texting me, or when people are texting me about buying peptides, they're not working with a doc.
Yeah.
Because they want to get it for the cheapest and quickest way they can get it. And I'm sure that your recommendation is, hey, and quite rightfully so, hey, get with a doc, get these other tests, make sure everything's cool. Let's look at your habits and things like that. But let's say they are looking online. What do they need to look for to make sure that they're not getting some, bad off-market type of thing?
Yeah, I don't recommend anyone to buy peptides online.
Yeah.
Like compounding pharmacies, they're not going to sell it direct to consumers online. Yeah. Like there are maybe some telemedicine companies that are doing like a consultation with a doctor, and then you're able to get a compounded medication, but it's going to be pricier than a $20 peptide that you're buying direct to consumer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before someone starts, so, the moral of the story there is, you want the real deal, you should talk to a doc and you're going to get what you pay for, type of thing, if you're just buying it online. So if someone you're recommending they do go through a doc and working with someone, what are some tests that you would recommend ahead of time prior to just jumping into the world of peptides or anything else for that matter? Like what should they look at?
Yeah. So when I do consultations with patients, I ask them specific questions to dictate like what tests they should be doing. So we typically do like a full men's comprehensive panel or women's comprehensive panel, which looks at all the hormones, looks at cholesterol and inflammatory levels of cholesterol, looks at cortisol. So really, like when I think about overall health, peptides are like the top tier, right? Like the foundations, healthy relationships, good diet, exercising, all these things are foundations that need to be in place, or at least working to be in place. And then above that is like hormones and supplements. So getting those dialed in, and then peptides, stem cells, all the other things are kind of at the top.
It's interesting that, I see it as for me, my experience was I really try hard to do all the foundations, and I got really good results from peptides. And so all my friends saw that, and they wanted to, and a lot of people I know, they really were like, hey, I want to do that too. And it was hard to explain to them that, and again, I'm not perfect, but I've really tried to do that. And it's hard to explain where those come in is kind of at the tip of the spear. It's like helping the healthiest 5% improve by another 5%. But that 5%, if you're doing everything and have been doing it for a while, is significant.
Yeah.
So you just talked about doing blood work. And what are some things that would show up in blood work, or that you would hear in that initial discussion that would make you say, yeah, I think that peptides are something that would be helpful to you?
So I always check IGF-1, which is a growth hormone marker. So if people are under 100 with their growth hormone, with IGF-1, which is a specific marker for growth hormone, then I would recommend a growth hormone peptide.
Yeah.
Caveat to that is you can't have cancer, right? Growth hormone is something we don't want to mess around with cancer. So anybody with cancer, obviously we wouldn't be working on that. Yeah. I mean, I see cancer patients, and obviously we're not working on their growth hormone levels. We're working on, getting the immune system ramped up, doing specialty testing to figure out how to get rid of the cancer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So IGF-1, are there any other markers for other peptides that you look for? Or is that more, you find that out in habitual conversation?
Yeah. So I don't do a lot of GLPs, but GLPs, you need to look at hemoglobin A1C, which is a 3-month average of your sugar. I mean, when guys or women come in for peptides, I look at the hormones, because the hormones are the most important. Yeah. Because hormones are going to be, like I was saying, like the foundation. So we have to get those dialed in. It's okay to use some peptides in the meantime, but really getting the hormones dialed in, because that's more long-term health. Yeah. Yeah. So free testosterone, regular testosterone for women, obviously estrogen, progesterone. Yeah.
So looking at those, and if you see those, that's kind of the candidates. You say, hey, you're a good candidate for this. Yeah. So in considering that, so saying, hey, these are the people that it worked for. These are people that, maybe it's not going to be as effective. What are a couple peptides out there that you would say that are almost like a multivitamin? I mean, they're probably not that level, but you'd say, hey, most people would benefit from, this one or these two, or are there any like that you'd?
Yeah. So the most popular is BPC 157.
Yep.
It's been on so many podcasts. It's naturally occurring. So we already have it in our body. I've seen it do miraculous things for people. People that are working out a lot, it helps with their recovery.
Mm-hmm.
It can help with healing tendons and ligaments. So there's not any crazy study, but peptides have been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if there's bad things going to happen with these that people are using, it would come out, right?
Yeah.
Like if someone died from using BPC, it would be in the news.
Yeah.
It would be banned and no one would be able to get it.
That's what it seems like with the number of people using it. And I'm sure there's people abusing it and all that, but it seems like a pretty modest dose. Now talk about, so it said BPC 157 could help a lot of people. What's the mechanism? What does it do? How does it do that recovery? Because that's one that you have me taking. And at first, I'd say the first 4 to 6 weeks, I wasn't quite sure. The other stuff, I was like, oh yeah, I'm feeling this. The BPC, I was like, well, I'm not sure. And I don't know if it's that or the combination. Knock on wood, I did not get sick this year. I didn't get a sniffle this year.
Yeah.
The first time, and I'm talking not even like a little drip of snot.
Amazing.
So what does BPC 157 actually do physiologically?
So the biggest thing is it's anti-inflammatory.
Mm-hmm.
End of the day, it's the most anti-inflammatory peptide.
So anything to do, so we're talking whether you work out, whether you're concerned about cardiovascular disease, so across the board, anti-inflammatory.
Across the board, yeah. It's been shown to help with liver disease. It can help with heart. It can help with, any type of inflammation going on.
So with that, with good, anytime you put good, there's got to be, like you said, with cancer, there's concerns. Are there concerns, or what would you have even in the back of your mind as a concern with BPC 157? Maybe the mechanism, what?
Yeah, I definitely think there needs to be more studies because there's no human studies that I know of.
Yeah.
So studying, and I don't know if there ever will be, but I've been using it with patients for a long time and I haven't had any real issues with it. No one has said, oh, I feel horrible with it, or I'm having this side effect of it. I've even injected a large dose into myself just to help with a shoulder issue or a knee issue. Yeah. And it helps for sure. Yep.
So with that, are there any, so you'd say that one's like the multivitamin. How about peptides that you would say, hey, these ones are for men. These are great peptides to be on for men. And then the same for women. Or is it just kind of these kind of help everybody type thing? Are there any specific ones that?
Yeah, not real for men or women particularly. There's so many different peptides. There's one for libido called PT141. That's actually a medication that was made for women to help with sexual function and libido.
Yeah.
They were like, how do we figure out a Viagra for women? So they created PT141, but it works for men too. So it kind of works in the brain to help with libido, which is amazing.
No kidding.
If you heard of that one, yeah. The one your buddy was taking is called probably DSIP, or Delta Sleep Inducing Peptide. So that can help just get your body into a deeper sleep, which is amazing. And that's for both men and women.
Yeah.
The ipamorelin, sermorelin, tesamorelin, these are all growth hormone peptides. They all have kind of a different level of efficacy and how people react to them. And I could say that some people don't feel great with them and they don't have any benefits of them. But BPC and then CJC ipamorelin, which is a growth hormone peptide, people love those. The
CJC is I really believe, and again, I fall into marketing just like anybody else, but I have a pretty good BS meter, and I've done this a long time. I've been involved with health and taken everything that's I've done all the stuff, and that the CJC, I felt that immediately.
Yeah,
I couldn't wait to get to the gym. After a week, all of a sudden, I'm in the gym, I'm feeling pumping. I hadn't felt a pump in a long time. And it just felt really good. I was exercising and it felt right. I wasn't just battling, fatigue or joint pain every rep. That made a big difference. And I think I snapped a picture and sent you, and that's not my usual, by the way. I don't usually, but I was dude, this is crazy. I was really impressed. So to go with that, you say CJC and the BPC 157, what if someone's into the gym? man or woman, if they're there, they want to lose fat, they want to maximize muscle. What are the general, what peptides are associated with that? Like what's part of that conversation?
Yeah. So people that are going to the gym that are trying to gain weight and muscle mass, like bodybuilders have been doing peptides for a long time, right? They were using sermorelin, which is similar to CJC ipamorelin. But they're also doing gear, right? Like
they are. That's why
they could be doing testosterone. They could be doing, all these other anabolics.
Yep.
So when I see someone that's like, I want to gain weight, it's like, all right, let's check your testosterone. My optimal level, and I know we'll get into testosterone later, but optimal is like 900 to 1200. Not a lot of people are at that level.
Yeah.
So getting the hormones dialed in again, and then CJC ipamorelin, because it boosts growth hormone. And you can get growth hormone and inject that, do 1 IU, 2 IUs of growth hormone a day.
Yeah.
But it's just really expensive and pricey. So the CJC ipamorelin or sermorelin or tesamorelin, they tell your body to make growth hormone. So they only work in the body for about 20 to 30 minutes. So you do a shot of it goes to your brain, tells your pituitary gland, hey, let's make growth hormone or let's make IGF-1, and then it does. And it's out of your body.
And then you feel good.
And then hopefully you feel good. Yeah. Not everyone feels good, I have to be honest. But a lot of people do, especially if you have the foundations right.
I have heard some people, especially with that one, they'll say, someone said it made them nauseous. And sometimes I'll get a little bit of a flush.
You get a flush, yeah.
And it's like 5 seconds. And to me, it doesn't bother me.
People like the flush.
Yeah, well, you know, like, it's working type of thing.
Yeah, it's helping, yeah.
So that's for the gym. You talk about the CJC, the ipamorelin, the BP157. So how about just someone who's like, I just want more energy and focus? Like, what's the one for that, or what are they using for that right now?
So NAD is probably our most popular. It's not even a peptide; it's a coenzyme. It stands for nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. So without NAD, we'd be dead in like 5 seconds, right? It's used in thousands and thousands of biochemical reactions every second. But it's not a peptide. I know this is a peptide conversation.
Yeah, but
people kind of put in the peptide world because we also give it to patients as an injectable.
Yeah.
Yeah.